time is forever. I can't imagine.
Invite everyone. I'm back to podcasting mid 2026. This is my third for the year. But I'm very happy to have a dear friend that goes way back in the day, back in Philly. Here I am, Carl Condello, here in California. And my dear friend Joe Callari from back in the good old days, for the club days and radio days. Joe Callari. Joe, thank you so much for being back on, and I appreciate this.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah. A lot's happened since the last time we actually saw each other. I know we probably, I think I bumped into you before I moved out here when you're still at that dealership, and we talked about possibly doing a cooking DJ show, something like that. But I know we moved on a little bit else. So how you been? I know I met you back in New Jersey at a club called Franchine's, and you mentioned like I was almost like the wallpaper there. Any club that because I love the music. I knew all the the DJs there from Nick Tatey, and got to meet you. And you guys were always gracious, and I always enjoyed it. And, a friendship from there and a couple of different things from there. So Joe, just a little bit of background, because people see this and probably wonder who you are, even from out here. So give me just a little bit of background of your background into music, how you got into the radio business, and then your current music production.
Well, funny you bring up Franchine's, because that's how the radio thing started. I was doing a night there, along with a lineup of DJs, and one of the DJs was Frank Cerami, and Frank had his show on Power 99, which was the #1 station in Philadelphia, and he had the hottest night of the week at the club, which was Monday night, believe it or not. And I got to be friends with Frank, and one thing led to another, and he asked me to do a mix on his show, and I wound up, it was like a 20-minute mix or so, and that turned into over 20 years at Power 99. I think it was altogether like 22 years. And then I worked at a lot of various different radio stations, just about every one in Philly that did any kind of a dance music. And it was just very weird how that all came about from Franchine's.
Amazing. I was there during that. So people didn't understand the DJs from the clubs. They had things that they called a record pool, that the record companies would pay us out promotional copies. And this is one of the first promotional ones for the record pool that you were a part of.
Oh, yeah. That's Bob Pantano's. That was called the Philadelphia Spinners Association, PSA. And I had belonged to that and a couple other pools as well. But I wound up back in the PSA. Great bunch of DJs. What you're looking at there are some real legends of
you're
DJs.
In the second row on the left there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep. And I also had an article.
Yeah.
I had an article in the magazine, the Philadelphia Spinners Association magazine, was called Callari's Corner. And that picture is actually from when I was in the Metro. And that was a group of DJs, that were Billboard reporters. So everyone you see in that picture was a Billboard reporter at one point, or just about everybody. And up front is my partner there, Don Mack. He's next to Josh Wink, who was another legendary DJ from Philadelphia, wound up traveling the world, had hit records, all really good, talented guys in that picture.
Yeah, it's amazing how that all came about. And then through that, you ended up meeting a lot of artists, a lot of recording artists. There's Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah. I wound up doing a mix on one of her songs. Ladies First, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was another situation where she, from being a Billboard reporter, you get to meet, just about everybody that comes into town. That's actually my group, Too Cool. We had a record out called Too Cool Thing from that picture. And that's Tone Love from the Tough Crew, and then Way Cooler from Pretty Poison. Of course, they had a top 10 hit with Catch Me I'm Falling. So, there's a theme throughout my career. There's a total theme. The people that were part of that were all very talented, successful people. And each step that I took along the way, you can associate the people that were around me with success and talent. And so it made it pretty easy for me to succeed, because I always made sure, and I didn't know it at the time, but when you go back and you think of all the things, when I became a songwriter, who was around me, Tony Luke Jr., Doug Grigsby, the first song, Andy Kravitz was on it, James Dennis. These are all like really great musicians, producers. I mean, Doug Grigsby became the music director for Tina Marie, and he produced my first single. And Tony Luke, of course, he's successful in many different aspects of entertainment, but also an unbelievable songwriter. And they were the guys that were around me when I was first starting. There's Tony right there, and that's Leo Rossi, who is an actor, writer, and a producer. And that's Tony Luke's from the Tony Luke fame here in Philadelphia. They were very highly successful with what he did business wise, and then became an actor and was very successful, and still is successful in that, and a songwriter, incredible writer.
Your podcast you did a couple of weeks ago with Tony, I called you immediately. I was just so inspired by that, and not just so much because now we are aging gracefully. Obviously, we've had heydays and highs and lows and going through everything. And when you talked about spirituality, it really hit me. And I think we're all on the same plane. We're still going. I know you probably had your down. I've had my down, but we're not giving up.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's where I think I really, with your music that you're doing now, it's really great. And there was one time you were always gracious to me. Not that anybody else wasn't, but you knew I was a photographer. I wish I was able to be a DJ. I tried one time to be up there, and I didn't realize I'm visual, not audio. I love to listen to, but I couldn't do what you guys do. But there was that famous time. I wish I had video cameras, but you invited me to be the photographer was it a Paramount 99 promotion at the truck that night? That
was actually one of the powerhouses, which is, really famous here in Philadelphia, still going. But that was one of the first, that might have been the second or third one, called Powerhouse. And it was at the Trocadero, and we had Expose, we had Sylvester, we had Club Nouveau. There were a lot of groups that were there. Gene Wilder, or Gene Wild, Eugene Wild, that's his name. There's Sylvester there.
Yeah.
So it was Eugene Wild, Sylvester, Nice and Wild. There's Nice and Wild. And they're the writers. That's one of the writers from Philly World Records that's standing in the background there. And that's Eugene right there, who had Got to Get You Home and Don't Say No Tonight. He had some hits. And, of course, that's Nice and Wild, Diamond Girl. That was their big hit record. Sylvester, of course, he had many, many hits. It was a great night.
Yeah, I just wish I had video of that night to do interviews and everything. And it was, it was a magical night. At least I still have these pictures. I'll still be able to put it out there, not digitized, but there's still copies from the original pictures. But at least we have, as you're talking about, we actually have that. And that was October of '86. That's going to be 40 years this October.
I know. Expose was there too.
Here we go.
There they are. And they became really big. And
they're still touring.
And still touring. They're still doing a great job. I remember I had to pick them up at the airport. That's actually Frank Cerami's wife.
Cool.
They're Donna and her friends.
I was trying to find the picture with Frank. I just couldn't find it. I know I took a couple with him and his father, whatever, but and then as the years went by, we all had our separate ways and whatever. And it wasn't until about 2010 when Facebook and everything came about, and then you and a couple other guys started doing the reunions.
Yeah.
And that's when we kind of hooked up again and started talking again. And we had different places. I can't believe it's 15, 16 years since the reunions.
I know.
We had to honor the guy who started it all, right?
Oh, that's Franco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Franchines. Monday night at Franchines was amazing. I had my friend.
Yeah, that was Frank's night. And I mean, you never knew who you were going to see there. I mean, it could be Michael Jordan. It could be, Charles Barkley, all the football players.
He's on another podcast talking about the club he used to go to in South Jersey and all that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he mentioned Franchines. It was a great time. It was, as they said in Goodfellas, it was a glorious time,
Yep.
With everything.
Absolutely.
So, and then this was one we ended up doing at the Coastline when I had all you guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. I remember that.
You made a comment that you must be over 150 years of experience with all those guys,
Look, even Robbie's in there, Robbie Tronco.
Yeah, and this was one of the last ones we did. I think it was at the Aloft or whatever, but it was outside. It was the summertime, and you're just having a ball. You're just having a great old...
we might want to not put that picture up.
All right. How about that one?
I'm not fond of that one either.
All right, I'm sorry. How about this one? Is this one better?
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, so actually...
That was at Harrah's.
Ah, cool.
In the casino in Atlantic City.
So what the last time I think we really did anything together was the night before Thanksgiving in 2011, and you had Don't Call Me Francis there. And I know it was a nice night. It was a great night, and I know I took some pictures there that, had a lot of good fun there too. So it's, the club experience, people that really out here don't even understand how much fun it was. And I just have to say, It was great. It was memorable. And I really enjoyed those days. But now here we are. So, Joe, how did you, one more other thing I have to say, because you were at this one club in Philadelphia that actually, my last day in construction, I actually worked and did some work there at this club.
Oh, yeah. That's of course, that's Jerry Blavitt on the one end, and that's me on the other. I was at that location for 10 years, Quincy's. It was an amazing nightclub. It was actually when I started making the transition from radio to just doing nightclubs, actually leaving the radio and getting more into promotion at that point. But I had a huge night there, and that was the flyer for it. Motown Monday was huge. And again, I was there for 10 years, and we just had a blast. That was so much fun. And of course, Jerry was there on Thursdays. And it was just a great time, great crowds. So much fun to do. That's one of the highlights. And I've had a lot of highlights in my career, being on Power 99 for all that time and having the #1 show and getting to work with a lot of different people. Carter and Sanborn to Don Juan Banks, JoJo Davis, DC Todd, Don Mack. We were just, I was very, very fortunate to be in that time era, because it's never going to happen again.
The one thing you mentioned with when you were on with Tony about how everything has evolved, that today's world with music, and now you've entered the writing, producing, and having your own music out there. There's not a record deal anymore. It's Spotify. Everything is this and that. So the good transition, Joe. So how did you get from being the DJ, being behind the scenes, playing someone else's music, to actually producing your own? And from what I hear, is absolutely fantastic. It goes back to that back in the day music. So how did that transition?
Well, I mean, that all started with Tony Luke. I had been writing an article for the South Philly Review, and he had a song out. This is in the '80s, and he had a song out that a local artist had did. Veronica Underwood, I believe it was, or no, excuse me, it was Brandy Wells, and she had did a song that he had written, and I did a write up on it in the paper, and so Tony had come out to thank me for writing up the song, and we became friends, and from that, and watching Tony, I said, I was always a writer, whether writing articles for newspapers or magazines, or just for pleasure. I always liked writing poetry and short stories and things like that. So when I got involved with Tony, that's when the songwriting came about. And so I think my first song came out in either 85 or 86. It was called It's Over Now. And Tony produced it, and so did Doug Grigsby, and Andy Kravitz was on it. A lot of these guys, have gone on. Unfortunately for Doug, he had passed away. But what a talented person, and just a great guy to be around, learning production, back when it was analog. So again, it was the successful people that were around me who made my success pretty easy.
So from that, so now you have this new material, and I this is the one I think the promotion in the fall.
Yeah, that's a house record. That's unusual for me, that track. That was just something that came to me one day, and I mean, it got over 10,000 streams on Spotify, but it wasn't really something that I pushed. But it was just something that came to me, because really what I'm concentrating on is what I love, and that's what they call grown folks R&B. It's
I like that.
It's meant for an older crowd. I mean, people go, "Oh, you do your music, it sounds like it's old." That's because it's meant to sound like that. It's meant for what I call the sophisticated R&B crowd. I'm not looking to be in some kind of a, genre that I'm not supposed to be in. That's the music that I loved growing up. I loved the sound of Philadelphia, and all that funk, soul, and R&B. And don't get me wrong, listen, I've played my fair share of hip hop, but what I gravitate to is lyric based songs. In other words, the lyrics are meaningful, and I mean, they are to me. And the one thing that I've learned is, you have to please yourself. I think Johnny Rivers said it. So that's, and these collections of songs that are popping up now, they're over a span of 35 years. Some of these songs that are being released, I started writing, 30 years ago. And because of all the things that I was involved with, whether it be the radio, whether it be doing remixes on major labels, or writing. I had a studio at one point. So, all the things that I was doing back then really limited me in time, but I always had, time to jot things down. And I'm one of those pack racks. I keep everything. So all those old notebooks that I had, I started going through a couple of years ago, and I'm finding all these songs that were, I either had just a title for, or were halfway finished, or, maybe a few lines. Well, that's when I said, you know what? I think I'm going to, put these in some kind of an order and start finishing them. And that's what I did. So I think right now I have about 35 to 40 songs that I'm almost finished. And of course, the latest one that's not even out yet, but I actually wrote it a few weeks ago, and to me it was just so perfect. I was doing the podcast with Eddie Holman and listening to Eddie and how he described his wife. It sparked that writer in me, and I wrote that song, the one that I had just posted, and it got serious views. It's just incredible. The one you played at the beginning.
You're talking about Once Around or I Miss You?
Nope.
One more time?
No.
All right, there's a three I had. Once Around and I Miss You.
No, you didn't play One More Time. You didn't play that. You played.
Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't have that one. I didn't download. my mistake. I apologize. So rather than talk, I have the three of them up there. So the last one I played, but just get a little bit of that touch. Which one you want to play? Once Around Mine or I Miss You?
Neither one.
Neither?
No, the other one.
This one?
The
All
one.
right.
One day at a time is forever. I can't imagine any other way. And we will always be together. And I'll love you more each and every day.
Apple. Is that the right one?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
That to me, that is your major wedding song.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it could be like a Always and Forever, the way that everybody used Always and Forever for years and years for their wedding song. That to me is just a heartfelt, great song. I mean, listen,
People don't
go,
slow
well,
dance anymore. People
I'm
slow
sorry?
dance anymore. People slow dance anymore. Like, good old fashioned slow dance. A great slow dance song.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're, I mean, I really don't know what's happening in the world today because I don't go out. I don't know if there's, I know that the night or the day of the nightclub is basically over. There's very few, unless you're at a resort, but there's like, it's more of pub types things now. They're not full-fledged nightclubs. Like, back in my day, there were full-fledged nightclubs. I mean, it was a major scene.
Yeah,
but but that's all gone.
My first pilot for TV in South Jersey, I covered the opening of Ajante, which was
right. I mean, now it's more restaurant with music, or or pubs with DJs or live bands. But the day of the full-fledged nightclub, that's long gone.
It's a shame that these newer generations doesn't appreciate it. But when I talk to people and I just tell them that, just a mere experience that you leave your house at 10 o'clock at night to go to your first club,
Right.
Friday and Saturday. And then especially if you were down the shore during the summer, and then you would go to one, and then you go to the second one, then you go to the after hour till 5 in the morning. And people say 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Then you go out to eat to a diner afterwards.
Yeah, but society is different. So
of course it is.
it's you couldn't do that now because people will want to kill each other. It's a completely different world that we live in. These kids, I don't even know if it's a matter of they don't know what they're missing. I don't think it's that. I think it's more of society has made the world not fun. I mean, it's sad to say, but that's why I gear what I do towards an older crowd, because they understand. They've witnessed what it was like going out or getting ready. It was a whole series of events that happened every weekend. And being a DJ, of course, I was part of the entertainment, but that process was major in people's lives. And, it wasn't about, who's going to get shot this weekend. It was more about, who are you going to meet this weekend? So I don't think it's not a matter of the clubs don't exist. I don't believe they can exist. If you had that type of event or tried to do that now, you would have serious problems.
It's a sad state of affairs. And Joe, hearing it from you, who really was in the front lines of that whole genre for a generation, to hear it for what it is now to that degree. And look, all the clubs were a mixed crowd, no matter who they were.
Yes.
But we all got along. We all loved to dance. It was the music. It wasn't like,
right,
this dude, you looked at me this way, and I didn't realize it's that bad. Because really, I don't go out either, because, look, I'm not a bar fly or anything. I just listen to music, my headphones. But it is a shame. It was always a mixed crowd, and everybody got along. There was never a problem back then. It's just society now.
Yeah. And I was really, really fortunate because I was able to do both. I mean, I've worked, the vast majority of my work were in all black nightclubs. I'd be the only, virtually the only white person in there. And it was a pleasure. I loved it. And because I loved playing that style of music. And there is a difference. There's a difference between working the white or mixed crowds compared to working in a predominantly black nightclub. And I absolutely loved it. And I wouldn't trade the crowds that I used to have and the following that I had for any crowd, any other crowd. It was amazing. And I had so much fun, and I learned so much from just the people that would come out. I mean, they became family after a while. You've known them, for 15, 20 years. And, they've been coming out to see you. So you get to see them get married. You get to see them have kids. You get the whole span. So, you become it's more than just going out and playing records. You're like a family member.
Well, even before Power 99 came on, there was the one R&B channel, 105.3 DAS.
Oh, DAS, yeah.
And
absolutely.
I have a picture with
that's me and Butter.
Yep.
Yeah, it's me and Butter.
And what a phenomenal guy. But it was an R&B station. But here's, and he's there. But, he educated everybody, and he got us all into the groove. And I don't know. It's sad just now to hear you say the way things are. But so thank God we lived where we did.
Right. I mean, you had Butter and you had Harvey Holiday as well.
Oh, yeah.
Which are both unbelievable, legendary, people in Philadelphia. I mean,
didn't you have him on one of your original podcasts, Harvey?
Yeah, I had Harvey on.
Phenomenal
guy. So, I mean, these were the guys that I listened to who made me want to be a DJ. I mean, it was the Jocko Hendersons, the Georgie Woods, Butterball, Harvey Holiday. It was, these guys were, I was listening to them when I was a kid. Not Harvey, because Harvey was a little bit later. But Harvey, I mean, I wouldn't miss the show. It was phenomenal. And
what station was Dr. Perry Johnson on?
He started on DAS.
Yeah.
And then he went to CAU.
All right.
but phenomenal. I
Didn't
mean,
he have that one mix, that club mix that he's on it?
oh, he was on Hamilton Bohannon's
Yes, there
Let's
he
Start
is.
to Dance.
Oh, wow.
Phenomenal. You know what? I've never had the opportunity to meet him, but just an incredible DJ. I mean, he was phenomenal on the air, and I mean, an extreme part of what I listened to prior to becoming a DJ. Played a major part in it, and just like you had Tony Brown with the when he did the Quiet Storm and the slow jams on DAS before the Quiet Storm was
I
here.
always liked at midnight when he used to do that.
Oh yeah, he would do the transition.
Oh my God, I waited till
Loved
12
him.
o'clock just to hear that transition.
I got
In
to see him do
space.
it live.
In space.
Yeah, but I got to see him do it live.
Wonderful. So yeah,
I-
I was a fan from back then, just listening to radio, having the
Yeah.
speakers and listening to the stations. And it was the culture, it was the music. I didn't care who produced it because look, Motown was the original, for that kind of music. And it was phenomenal, and it's great. Joe, I want to just say that I see that plaque that's on here on the screen to your right, the Legends of Vinyl.
Okay, yeah.
I think great old, Louis Mario's come up with an amazing organization. I know he was just overseas in England, but I think I was there at the first one in 2015, and we had a little disagreement. Why wasn't the photographer when you were there to 16? But yeah, it shows the recognition of DJ club DJs, not just Philly, New York, but anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Proud that you were there, indoctrinated there, because obviously, to me, you should have been there in 2015 at the first one. But hey, whatever. But at least you're on there,
Yeah, actually, I wasn't. It was 2017 actually when I got. But you know what? I mean, listen, I'm just grateful. I mean, for someone to recognize me for that kind of an award, to me, it's a testament of the people that were around me. That's what it was, and the people who came out, because without both of those, it couldn't happen. You can have all the talent in the world, but if no one recognizes it, it doesn't matter. So, I always contribute, or I try to include the people that were around me who played major parts in what I did, or enhanced it, or gave me an opportunity, because that's what it's about. It was a great honor.
Well, I got to give a kudos to you. Once we started doing the reunions, that between you and Nick and Joey, hey, tap me on the back. We want you to be the actual guy that recorded on photography, and I have all those. I want to appreciate that and just showing.
Oh yeah.
You hanging out. That's a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
There. And then that one time, that New Year's Day in 2012.
That was 30 pounds ago.
Tell me about it. And when you had that at with me, Joe, Tony, Luke, and my friend
Jack.
Jack.
Yep.
And it was a promotion there. It was a very nice day, and I do appreciate you always reaching out to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's where I'm grateful, and I appreciate you being on here. And I know we could probably talk for another hour and a half.
Yeah.
But Joe, in not closing, but just like retrospect, what do you now? Where is the? I'm going to just put one of these promos up here. Obviously, all your music can be found on all the streaming services and all that. So just let's touch base on where you're
DJ Joe Too Cool Callari on Spotify. You can go to my Spotify page, which is DJ Joe Too Cool Callari. You can go to my podcast, which is Philly Legends Podcast on YouTube, doing phenomenal. I have great guests on. It's so much fun for me to do it. I just had Eddie Holman on, who, of course, is a R&B Hall of Famer, R&B Music Hall of Fame. Had the number 4 song in the country in 1969. Hey There, Lonely Girl, and just a great writer and producer, and it's just a great guy, and very talented. And I also have my webpage, which is Philly Legends Podcast .com. You can go there. And of course, my Facebook, DJ Joe Too Cool Callari. And, all the other usual places, Instagram, um, TikTok, and X. So, I mean, it's available everywhere. I have an album coming out sometime in the summer. I'm not sure exactly when. But my next single is going to be I'm so lost in all of the songs that I've written. I can't remember the name of the song. You played it.
So you do it all, though. You don't have an assistant helping you out. You do it all, correct?
Well, I do have my girlfriend helps me immensely. She was a producer at Channel 10 and at Discovery. So she understands this side of the business, and she helps me get guests. I have Tracy Davidson coming up the end of April for a podcast, who, if you're from the Philadelphia area, I mean, she's a legendary newscaster.
Yeah, she is.
And so I'm looking forward to that one. I already had George Anastasia on. Pretty sure we're going to have Bill Baldini on soon. Ray Murray from the Evening Magazine, from back in the day. Hopefully, they're all going to come on.
You're going to have Tony. You're going to have Tony back on for a second.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, Tony and I, we've been together now for over 30 some years. Between writing songs, and I mean, I talk to Tony a couple times a week. When he remembers to call me, he'll get what I'm saying now.
Yeah.
But it's just, again, I've been blessed. I got the album coming out. Like I said, sometime in the summer. I'm really love writing. That's really my, out of all the things that I've done, DJing, Billboard reporter, remixer, I've got, multiple gold and platinum records over the years. But out of all the stuff, the writing end of it is what I love the most. I absolutely love writing songs. And I hope they touch people, in a way that the response has been incredible. So, I can do that forever.
Now, will there be any kind of live performances, artists produce?
There may be.
Live?
I mean, it may come to that. I mean, we're going to see how it shakes out as far as just how far it goes. I really think the Forever on One Day, I really think that this song can be like a wedding theme song that can go on for many, many years. And hopefully, once the promotion starts with it, other people jump on board. And I mean, I put it up like 3 or 4 days ago, and it's got like 16,000 views on Facebook. So it is touching people. And the other song that I have, it's out, but it's actually for Mother's Day. It's I Miss You. I mean, these are songs that people can relate to. I mean, you hear the song and you go, oh yeah, this really is me. And again, I write songs. They're not necessarily things that happened in my life, but a lot of them, parts of them are things that happened in my life. Like that song I wrote, about or for my mother. So it's about, that whole thing. I think all of us never gave our mothers enough credit for what they did. And you don't realize a lot of it until they're gone. And that's what that song's about. And that also got great reviews, and especially over in Europe. I mean, the writers over there went crazy for it. And then, You're My Paradise is also, I mean, I think these songs are really good songs. And, it's only as good as how many people listen to it, so they say. But, I'm not, if you think that you're going to get rich from writing a song, well, you have the same chance of hitting a lottery. So it's not about that. It's about delivering something that has to come through me that I have to get out. And that's why I write songs. So, and again, like I said, a lot of these songs are 35 years old. I started writing some just title. And I said, yep, you know what? Over these next couple of years, I'm going to finish these songs. And that's what I'm doing.
Well, Joe, I'm glad and thankful that you're on here, because when you reach superstardom, at least I could say, hey, I got you right before everything exploded. And like you
said, from your lips to God's ears.
Exactly, Joe. And, about you, just these songs are 35 years old. And, I'm still trying to get the movie from back in my delay from 80 to 83, producing that movie. And I discussed that with you back in the day, because actually I have a role in the movie with you and a couple of the other guys. But I'm actually putting things together for that too, because it's what I want to do is financing, and I just don't want to do it half-ass. I hate to use that expression. I want to do it really well. So yes, and with you doing this, I'm going to be doing it too, and it's just not a last hurrah, but it's the journey. It's being creative. It's just not another job.
Yeah, I mean, it's all I know. I mean, it really is. It's. I mean, again, I've been very fortunate. I was able to sustain a life up until my 40s just from entertainment, and then of course I had to start doing other things. But if you can make a living, an honest living, and doing what you really love, I mean, it's amazing. And and again, I could care less about being famous or anything like that. I just like to pay the bills. That's all.
Don't we all?
Right. And I honestly, if I didn't think that the things that I did were good, I wouldn't put them out. I mean, it's that simple. So, of course, everything takes care of itself, and there isn't an ultimate plan. And if the good Lord thinks that should happen, it'll happen. And I'm very fortunate to have someone like my girlfriend Patty, who believes in what I do and helps me in everything that I do in order to make it happen. So, I'm fortunate.
Yeah, kudos to her.
Yeah.
So Joe, thank you again for being on here with me. And this will be up probably within a couple of hours or two, and we could talk about how you promote it on your end too. So we're just going to go out on that one song that we did play. And Joe, thank you again, and I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Just stay on a little bit, maybe make sure everything downloads. We'll talk to you after that. But thank you again, Joe. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy.